this is a new low. Yes, it's true. DreamWorks are making a Cocomelon movie. That's right, the very thing that's decimated a generation of children. Handled by DreamWorks now. And they're not even providing the animation for themselves, because that's just the company now. I think that alone just says so much. With recent hits like The Bad Guys, Puss in Boots, The Wild Robot, you'd be forgiven for thinking that DreamWorks were gonna streamline their content to premium quality productions. But need I remind you, only a year ago we were dealing with Megamind Rules and Megamind the Doom Syndicate, just to demonstrate that they are still very capable of making some truly abhorrent projects, even if that was just fobbing it off to Peacock. Cocomelon, built for an audience even more younger than the standard DreamWorks film, and I guess that's just the direction for the company now, because we've already seen that element of demographic changing bleed into their mainline movies with the recently announced Gabby's Playhouse movie. After something like the super success of Puss in Boots, I don't think any of us really expected this to be the direction of the studio of DreamWorks to go with after. And is that really the right move for a company on this scale to go with? Because for my money, a lot of their best movies appeal to a much wider audience demographic, making it a shoo-in for bigger numbers. Is using the same resources of their main movies on preschool-aimed projects really a worthwhile move for a studio this big? Not that that's necessarily the biggest issue for me in all this news. No, it's the fact that it's goddamn Cocomelon of all things. I mean, I guess you could admit there is, of course, an audience there, but I'm pretty sure it's because it's short and it loops forever and ever. Because, like, there's a thing where many theaters have, like, a slot specifically for parents with their young children, creating a revenue stream for morning screenings that otherwise, I guess, wouldn't make anything. Are they gonna adapt that to work with a Cocomelon movie? But Coco, of all things, in the age of projects like Bluey, where there is clearly a market for preschool programming that parents can actively enjoy, you really think they're going to be willing to pay money to listen to 90 minutes of Cocomelon? And then do it again? The YouTube series that, as popular as it is with kids, is absolutely despised by parents all over the world. And there are genuine suggestions that the presentation of Cocomelon is a sensory overload that's actively damaging to kids in comparison to older, slower childhood shows. And narratively speaking, how are we going to handle this? A series that for the longest time was primarily nursery rhymes without any real narrative at all to it? And your plan is to drill it into a feature-length film with this? How? Sure, despite my doubts that there will be many parents willing to take their kids to this, it's undeniable at least about the success of Cocomelon. Just a little hint of how big this thing really is. The company behind the franchise, Moonbug, was purchased a few years ago for $3 billion. Just the nursery rhyme channel alone is sitting on 193 million subscribers and 201 billion lifetime views. That's about $600 million in ad revenue on YouTube alone in a sloppy, messy format. There's a lot of money that circulates Cocomelon, to say the least, and DreamWorks are now the ones looking to cash it in. Now, in their new outsourcing animation era, this will still be overseen by Moonbug and a couple other companies, with DreamWorks Animation actually doing the animation. So I guess DreamWorks is just a distribution label for Universal at this point. It's not even the first time that DreamWorks have stepped in for DreamWorks, having also polished off scenes from Trolls World Tour, another reminder that a Cocomelon movie isn't necessarily below them as a company. Okay, I've been made aware that there is now a more established cast of characters for this property now, revolving around the main character JJ, a baby, and all of his friends and family, which is news to me. I thought the actual melon in the logo was the main character. I'm literally trying to surmise as much as I can about Cocomelon without, actively engaging with their videos. I can't be doing that to myself. I really hope DreamWorks doesn't drag me into baby content. I'll have to save myself from such classics like the Belly Button song, or the My Daddy song, or Best of Wheels on the Bus. 46-minute compilation! Is this the structure of the movie? Is it going to be some sort of Cocomelon equivalent of Les Miserables, where they just sing through the entire thing, but with nursery rhymes? Is JJ gonna have to grow up through some kind of traumatic experience? What are they even gonna do here? I literally don't understand. Are they gonna upscale the animation for the higher budget, or are we gonna see the same bubblegum look that we get from the show, just with a higher budget attached? Like, how close to Boss Baby are we really gonna go visually? Or are we just gonna have to sit in that weird valley between VeggieTales and Jimmy Neutron and save some funds because that's what the show looked like anyway? If I had to guess, I would imagine it's gonna be similar character designs with a budget polish. I hope so. Boss Baby probably is the best comparison, with a particular character design that still has that familiar DreamWorks rendering and finishing. You know, it really shivers my timbers to say that I expect the idea of the Boss Baby aesthetic prevailing is the better version of the movie. And to probably say that the Boss Baby movie will end up being better than this movie anyway. Hey there, you've made it to the halfway mark of this video, so come subscribe if you haven't already. We'll keep you updated with any animation news. Alright, back to DreamWorks falling apart. Again. This just reads like a particularly financially motivated move, which every movie is nowadays. There's no art here. But at least with most movies that are made, they can say, we can make money from this because there's clearly a feature-length story that can be pulled from here. I don't think that moment is one you get with Cocomelon. I think we're in for purely a series of songs lazily strewn together. The real terrible Trolls, to be honest. It's literally a mix between Trolls and Boss Baby. These industries really are just a snake growing to eat itself. And as much as I don't want to touch this movie with a barge pole, looking back at the stuff I've done before, I'm practically already there with Trolls and Boss Baby, so I guess I don't really have a choice in this. I just hope that this isn't a sign of DreamWorks descending into more populist, trendy projects over some of their better efforts. It's kind of mad that the same studio that almost won an Oscar for The Wild Robot is now just producing a Cocomelon movie. Make it make sense! But it simply is a different studio now. Their in-house animation has now been gutted out, with it all being made in various places across the world. For now, anyway. Maybe this is just the direction they're going with, Gabby's Dollhouse and all. And Shrek 5, which currently seems pretty in line with what this new era is turning out to be, unless they radically change course before it comes out. Fat chance of that. From Prince of Egypt to Cocomelon, what a journey we've been on with this company. Initially, DreamWorks prided itself on being a studio that pushes boundaries. Whether it was Shrek, where they took a beloved fairy tale and turned it on its head, or How to Train Your Dragon, and even Madagascar, they had an edge that set them apart from the likes of Disney, and that was the whole idea of setting up the company after all. But that just seems to be changing now. With the rise of the streaming market and the increasing shift towards co-productions, DreamWorks now feels less like the rebel animation studio we once knew, and more like just another cog in the Universal machine. I wondered if they would become Universal's Pixar, whilst Illumination did the more corporate mandate stuff. But now, it just seems like Universal chucks all the projects that Illumination won't take to them as well. What DreamWorks had once done well was bring a sense of edginess and freshness to animation, challenging Disney and Pixar for dominance, but now, with films like Cocomelon in production, who are they even challenging? No one, I guess. Just money, innit? Streamlined by the staff load for maximum profits. And before you think founder Jeffrey Katzenberg would be furious, he just purchased an AI animation studio that could supposedly cut an animation movie's workforce by 90%. Which he seemed quite eerily proud of. What's worrying is that this shift could signal a larger trend where studios lean into the lowest common denominator to maximize profits. If anything, this move feels like DreamWorks is trying to cash in on an established brand over any prospect of there actually being a good story to pry from it. I guess that's on the creatives to sort of work that bit out after the fact. You might say that this is just business as usual, and that's fair, but here's the thing. DreamWorks used to have a distinct voice. And maybe the Shrek 5 trailer is the best demonstration of the fact that that voice isn't there anymore. And now it seems like they're just trying to find a way to stay relevant by jumping on trends rather than creating new ones. Cocomelon, for all of its successes, doesn't feel like a brand that needs to be expanded into a full-length movie. It's a phenomenon built on short-form, repetitive content, and I just don't see a movie in that. The risk here isn't just one movie flopping, it's DreamWorks losing what made them great in the first place, the ability to innovate and take chances. Instead, they seem to be chasing the easiest cash grab carrot in front of their faces in a landscape that's already crowded with such easy bait movies. In its history, DreamWorks has shown it's not afraid to make a risky move. The Bad Guys, The Wild Robot, even Dogman shows some boldness is still in there. But sometimes, it feels like those risks have now morphed into a routine, betting on whatever's popular rather than leading the charge. And if the Cocomelon movie succeeds, It will just be a reminder that money talks in the animation world, and art will come collapsing close behind it. And if it bombs, maybe they'll realize what they've done, or maybe it'll be way too late. I'm at the very least intrigued how they're gonna make a cohesive movie out of this, let alone a good one. And by God, cinemas, please invest in sensory headphones purely for the sake of the parents. For now though, that's the terrible update on the state of DreamWorks animation. For now, my name's been Daz. Thank you very much for reaching the end of this little update. What do you think? Is this their legacy now? Lowest common denominator? I'd love to hear all your thoughts on more. Boy, that'll be a great video to make one day. The terrible Cocomelon movie. Oh, I can see it now. And I shall see you all in a little bit. Cheerio!